Hello everybody, this is Purge, bringing you guys a pro cast. We're looking at Team Liquid versus Evil Geniuses. This is from the RaidCall D2L League. As you guys can see, AC and Draskell are the typical commentators for this, so if you guys want to listen to any of their commentary within the game, you can do that. But for now, I'm going to be doing some solo casting. I have my webcam on, so hey guys, how you doing? I am on Wednesday, 7 p.m. I'm not really sure when I'm going to upload this, but like I mentioned in the last video that I uploaded, or two, not the Witch Doctor one, what did I do? I made some other... I can't remember now. I made another video, and I know I announced that I'm going to Hawaii. That is in 2 days, so I'm going to try to make a bunch of videos tonight, and then hopefully space them out over the weekend. I should be back early in the next week, and that should be about the same time that LD gets to my house. And at that point, we'll set up, and then everything should be danced around quite a bit, and then hopefully maybe have like a LAN party or something, like a streaming session. But that's probably at least a week and a half ahead, so... hopefully you guys are pumped for that. The TV video went up yesterday, if you guys haven't checked that out yet. Well, yesterday is Tuesday. It went up on Tuesday. I have to like talk about future times at very broad increments. But the TV collab video went up. We're hoping to make some more in the future, I think. It went really, really well. I actually enjoyed reading the comments, so thanks guys if you left awesome comments over there. It was pretty enjoyable. But the video is great. I have my perspective recorded, but I was thinking about uploading it, but I think I'm just going to pass because it's essentially the same thing. It just shows a little bit more of my play rather than his. So I think I maybe talked a little too much in the video, but there was just so much to cover that I really did focus on that a lot. So anyways, I think that's about it. Uploading a bunch of videos this week. Next month coming up, I'm going to IPL and MLG Dallas. If you guys want to see me at either of those places, go to those events. It should be fun. Go check them out. I'm trying to think of anything else I'm doing. I think that is about it. Going to a wedding in March. I don't know. I'm doing tons of stuff. I'm going all over the place. Regardless, let's talk about this game. EG versus Team Liquid. Again, this is for the RaidCall D2L League. Looks like they have the full rosters in the game. Bdiz, Melk, Demon, Jo, Fear, all on Team EG. Fear drafting for EG. And for Team Liquid here, Fluff, Korok, TC Bulba, and IX Mike 88. Now, this game was actually played last week, Thursday, I believe. And about a month ago, Team Liquid was not doing super well, considering the lineup that they have. They have some of the best players in North America. Very, very easy to say that. And everybody was expecting them to just kind of show up and start stomping, but that was not the case. They actually had pretty inconsistent results at the start. I know at that point, because I was playing with Fluff on that LAN team, that they weren't practicing a whole ton together, and that they had taken turns going on vacations and things like that, so team unity was maybe not as high as it could have been. But this game last week, I don't know how this one goes, of course, but I know that Team Liquid has been playing very, very well lately and winning a lot of their games. So Team Liquid is finally pulling things together, which is pretty cool to see because everybody was a little disappointed. They're like, I thought Team Liquid was going to be like the most awesome team, North American team ever, and then it was all disappointing, but it's looking a lot better for them. So you guys might, if you don't follow the pro scene too much, I know that a lot of people just watch my channel just for gameplay commentaries and things like that, so you guys can learn the game better. But we can still get those same kind of aspects out of Procast here. A little bit about Liquid as they stand now. They are 3 members from Complexity, which was at TI2. So that's Fluff, TC, as well as IX Mike 88. They dropped Jo, who's now on Evil Geniuses, and they also dropped Hannah Montana, who was previously the long laner. The 2 players they picked up were Bulba, previously on the Evil Geniuses, and Korok, who used to be on Quantic. Quantic did not make it to TI2. They were close, but not quite there in terms of team ability. So Bulba used to play on EG, Jo used to play in Complexity, so it's kind of like a little team swap here, and that is how things are set up for this game. So very, very good players on Team Liquid. EG, you guys should recognize the only major differences they made is, well, they actually dropped 2 players. They dropped Bulba from TI2, and Bulba eventually joined Team Liquid, and they also dropped Universe. Universe recently has been transferred over to Team Dignitas. Team Dignitas is looking fantastic right now. It's another amazingly good North American team. And the other player that EG picked up was Bdiz. Now, I don't actually know that much about Bdiz myself, but I'm pretty sure he's been in the scene for quite a while. Excuse me, guys. I ate a bunch of tangerines recently. I'm burping and stuff. I don't know that much about Bdiz. I know that he joined EG as a support player. I believe he's been in the NA Dota scene for a very long time, and I've also heard that he's very, very good. So we will see how all the supporting from his side goes. So they lost Universe, and they lost Bulba, and they picked up Jo and Bdiz. Great substitutes. So yeah, that's Team EG currently. Team Liquid, will see how they perform. Batrider is going to be a response pick to the Wisp. Wisp actually the first draft here. And the first round bans look pretty much the same as what Fluff was talking about a month ago when I was playing some casual scrims with him as captain. Darkseer is still seen as a pretty powerful hero. The only downside of Darkseer really is that he can be countered by a couple picks, such as Clinks, I believe. Clinks is a great hero against Darkseer, and there are a couple other, usually ranged heroes that can work out quite good against him. I laned against a Lifestealer once that actually worked out pretty well additionally, especially when he grabbed a Midas, because he just waited till an Iron Creep came up, and then he just killed the Iron Creep, and bam, I missed the last hit. Or I missed last hit and push potential for about, what, 30 seconds or whatever the Iron Show cooldown is. I guess we can check that, can't we? Not even close, 10 seconds. Wow, I was off. Holy crap. 10 seconds on Iron Show. Darkseer, Chaos Knight, Wisp. Not too surprising to see that Wisp Chaos Knight is a really good dual lane combo, and it usually does quite well in lane because you can use Reality Rift, Chaos Knight's second skill, to insta-stun with Tether. And after the Tether stun duration goes out, then Chaos Knight can throw a Chaos Bolt, and that should generally result in a kill on the long lane. Now, it's going to be a little harder because Team Liquid has drafted a Clockwork, and at the moment, that's a pretty popular long lane hero. So, Clockwork in the long lane especially can just pop cogs. If he's a little afraid of getting caught, he can cog himself. Now, whether or not he can cog before the Tether stun applies is a little unknown, but if he can, then he should be pretty safe from them. Though I wonder if Reality Rift will pull you out of cogs. I'm not quite sure. I haven't actually seen that matchup before. Chaos Knight Wisp versus a Clockwork. We'll see what happens when things start happening. It would also be good if he could drain Chaos Knight's mana using the cogs. That's also a good strat. There are some heroes that Clockwork will lane against where draining their mana is very, very beneficial, because if they're out of mana, sometimes that's all of their damage output. And for Chaos Knight, that's a perfect example. He won't be able to stun, and he won't be able to Reality Rift if he's out of mana. And that's really the dangerous things about CK in the early game. So, a Batrider Clock and a Gyrocopter on Team Liquid. EG has picked a Wisp Darkseer Chaos Knight, so it'll be a long lane Darkseer. I'm not sure who's playing what roles for EG. I think they kind of shift things up a little bit. Sometimes JO goes mid, I believe, if they draft a TA, but otherwise I think it's Demon that plays mid for EG. Pretty sure. Second round bans, we actually see a Visage. This is borderline respect ban out of fear. Fluff does play Visage extremely well, and he's one of the few players that actually does draft the hero regularly, usually as a support to a tri-lane. And the reason they do this is because Visage has a very powerful nuke at level 1. It does 200 damage, costs a ton of mana, but still pretty good hero. No hard disables for that hero until he gets the bats, in which case you have to micro stun with them. But yeah, pretty useful. Lone Druid's actually banned by Team Liquid. Bear is very, very good still. Very popular in the Chinese scene as well, just because he is so good in a 1v1 situation. That's why most people draft him. And they know that if they get a better tri-lane than your opponents, and they have a safe lane Lone Druid, they know that Lone Druid could pretty much beat any one other hero solo. And that is pretty much a darn fact. A Lone Druid is the best 1v1 hero in the game. There's some arguments saying that OD is better, and obviously a hero like Treant Protector has higher base damage, but being able to get kills and also outlast your opponent and generally stay survivable, Lone Druid is way, way up there. And he doesn't really have a whole lot of natural counters. Normally you'd say something like, a lot of mids get countered by heroes like Nyx Assassin because of the mana drain, but Lone Druid doesn't even have a good int pool or big int gain or that squishy as a hero until once he gets his ulti anyway. So Lone Druid, great 1v1 hero, and that is something Team Liquid don't want to fight against. A Clockwork would get absolutely demolished by a Lone Druid, and that could have been one thing that Evil Geniuses could have done in this draft, is do Chaos Knight Wisp plus a ranged nuking stunner, and then put Clock versus the Lone Druid, and Lone Druid would have a heyday with that, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Batrider mid, though, most likely. Pretty popular. I guess there is a chance that Clockwork could go mid, but most commonly right now Clockwork is played in the long lane. Batrider is still a very powerful hero. Despite the nerf to Flaming Lasso, you can no longer attack while you lasso somebody, which is mostly just a very, very slight nerf to damage output in the 1v1 lane, which is really where Batrider is deemed overpowered. It's because he has such good lane control in a 1v1 situation. People are slow, and if you can't attack while you're lassoing somebody, that means that your damage source is coming from Napalm and Firefly. And normally in a 1v1 situation, you don't actually want to pull that far. You really just kind of want to pull them into fire and then auto attack them for 2 attacks, which ends up doing like an extra 100 or 200 damage or something like that, somewhere in there. So it's a slight nerf to his 1v1 killing potential, but largely he's still just as strong. So maybe he'll get more and more nerfs in the future. Maybe needs like a turn radius nerf or something. I think that's one of the most annoying things about the hero, that maybe it doesn't need to be Maybe it doesn't need to be as strong, but it's hard to say. I think he's always going to be good because Flaming Lasso obviously allows you to pull a hero out of position, similar like Pudge's Hook, but still a lot more viable throughout the entire game. Other bans we're seeing here are going to be a Weaver, surprisingly, and an Enchantress. I know Weaver has been drafted occasionally lately. The main reason I think it's being banned here is because if you look at Team Liquid's heroes, it is the perfect counter to pretty much everything they're working with. Clockwork could do things against the Weaver, but Gyrocopter, for example, his stun's never going to land, his slows aren't going to do anything, and Batraider's kind of similar. Batraider doesn't have a ton of good ways to deal with Weaver. You can, if you don't have really hard, reliable disables, Weaver is kind of a problem hero to deal with, so that is exactly why they banned him, I think. They're also going to ban out of Chen. Neither team wants to see a lot of early pushing or jungle dominance. And finally, a Bane ban out of EG. So we're going to the picking stage now for EG, 4th pick coming up. They are looking for a 3rd support hero or jungler, could see an Enigma perhaps, Enigma or a 3rd tri-lane support, and most likely a mid hero. Now, Darkseer sometimes does see mid play, but against a Batrider, I just don't see that happening. He could lane pretty effectively against a Bat, I think, because he can always outpush the Bat, and the Bat would be unable to dive, but I don't think it's a matchup that Darkseer wants to do because he would have to rely on taking some damage from Batrider because he is a melee hero. And that's not exactly what he wants to aim for. So I'm expecting to see a mid pick, something that is survivable against Batrider, thinking maybe a Queen of Pain. I think Queen of Pain would be great against Clock as well as Batrider. And other than the Queen of Pain, they also need they either support or the jungle here. So that's what EG is looking to pick up. I don't know if they'll do Quap here. I am thinking they might save it because I'm not seeing Liquid drafting a Quap because they already have a long lane and a mid, which is pretty much covers Quap's roles, or typical roles, that is. So maybe a Queen of Pain in the 5th pick out of EG and a support tier here, but maybe they don't quite want to cement their tri-lane. It's obvious they're going to get a team fight mid, most likely, but especially with the Darkseer, actually, Quap would work out really nice, and maybe they'll even do something like a Queen of Pain and an Enigma. That seems kind of cool with Darkseer. I mean, it's a little bit more of a throwback to typical heroes, but it's actually a Windrunner. A little surprised about this. Unless we see a Chaos Knight Wisp mid versus a Batrider, this would quite surprise me quite a bit, just because Windrunner is not the best hero against Batrider. She's okay in the mid lane because the towers are pretty close, so if you do need to run away and get into safety, Windrunner can work, but in a typical lane setup, Batrider actually does have an advantage over Windrunner. A slight to moderate, just kind of like a slight. I played that matchup actually at the San Diego lane, and I didn't play it very effectively, and the Windrunner outlast hit me, but I should have been able to outlane the Windrunner, and after talking with a friend or two, he should have that advantage in a longer lane. But regardless of that, mid lane setup, we'll see. Kind of comes down to playing ganks and stuff like that. Shadow Demon's going to be the support pick out of Team Liquid. That's undoubtedly going to be Ix Mike playing the Shadow Demon, most likely saving allies from stuns and other things like that. Shadow Demon will be a great hero against Chaos Knight because whoever he does stun can be counter-initiated on by Shadow Demon. He'll just disrupt whoever it is, and then in 2.5 seconds of that stun is going to be completely null and void, which is largely the one of the bigger disables that EG is working with. Not counting Shackle Shot, of course. Shackle Shot's always going to be fantastic. 3.75 second stun is massive. And a Tidehunter pick actually surprising me quite a bit here by EG. A couple things about the Tide pick. Number one, I believe that's going to be played as a support. I might be wrong there. It could be a Windrunner support, maybe, but Tidehunter as a support is not always the best because he's a melee hero. And a melee Tide plus a Chaos Knight plus a Wisp. Wisp doesn't have the longest range ever. Those 3 heroes together make for a pretty crappy tri-lane. And Team Liquid right now has the setups of a really good tri-lane with Gyrocopter and Shadow Demon. If they just get a Rubik or another ranged disabler, they could definitely out tri-lane them. And they'll grab a Leshrac, which is exactly what I'm talking about. A ranged stun that could possibly shut down EG. I think if Team Liquid is doing what I'm expecting them to do, they're going to try to do an aggressive tri-lane. They want to fight EG's tri-lane, I think. And that would also give... I don't know where they would put the other lanes. Maybe they would put Clock mid versus Windrunner and put Bat versus Darkseer. Because like I said, I don't think they want to put Clockwork versus Darkseer. I think that would not be a good thing. And I think they would like to put Batrider... I think they would rather put Batrider versus Darkseer and Clock versus Windrunner. Like I said, Batrider can beat Windrunner. I think Batrider can beat Windrunner, but they'd rather put Bat versus Darkseer and Clock versus Wind, because I think Windrunner can score, or Clock can score kills on Windrunner and isn't at that much threat of dying since he is a pretty tanky hero. So if you look at the drafting, it looks like Fear is going to play Darkseer this game, Demon is going to be on Windrunner, and Malk playing Tide support, of course, and Beat is on Wisp support with Jo doing the Chaos Knight. A little surprised to see Fear doing the Darkseer and not actually Jo, but I'm sorry, did I say that wrong? I'm surprised. Oh, I'm sorry, they did swap, excuse me. So Fear is going to be playing Chaos Knight. He is their carry player, so I was surprised to see him picking Darkseer. I don't know why he did that. Maybe they swapped things up a bit. So let's look over the players quick. For the Radiant team, we'll cover them first. This is Team EG, of course, sponsored by RaidCall in the EG D2L, and this is a unusual courier with a blue aura effect, which is undoubtedly given from a fan, which is pretty cool. So EG Malk is going to be playing the Tidehunter. We've got Beediz on the Wisp. Fear is going to be playing Chaos Knight. Demon is on the Windrunner, and the last player is going to be Jo playing Darkseer. So it looks like Jo is actually going mid on Darkseer with a Magic Stick and a Tango, expecting to be versus a Batrider, which means it's going to be a long lane Windrunner, most likely. And it's kind of mix and matching items here, I think. Just kind of... I'm sorry, this is a full set. Okay, this is that new one with the... Okay, it's the Falcon set with the Sparrowhawk hood. Apparently he does not like the Sparrowhawk hood. I think it has some wings on it and stuff like that. I don't know if this one has custom animations, though. Oh! No, it's a Sparrowhawk. Sparrowhawk? Custom animations? Maybe you just get... Alright, I'll look at that later. It's okay. For the Dire team, Team Liquid. Shadow Demon is going to be played by IXMike88. Fluff is playing Leshrac. We've got Korok on the Batrider. Bulba is actually playing Clockwork, and the last hero is going to be TC playing Drakcopter. Possibly going to safe lane. He is being pooled regen by Fluff here, so one extra Tango. A little bit of subtle flame going on. Batrider is going to the mid lane, one Tango, because he's not going to have to need a lot of regen versus a Darkseer. That's who he's expecting to be mid. So we'll be a Batrider versus a Darkseer. And to the bottom, it looks like Bulba is actually tri-lane, a Clockwork tri-lane with IXMike and Fluff on Lesh Shadow Demon. Now, Bulba did use Cogs, as you guys can see, to block 2 creeps. He let 2 of these creeps go first, so that they would die and the wave would push back. The downside is that the wave might get pulled, but this is actually pretty good for Liquid if they do pull this wave, because they have 2 supports ready to go. And bam, look at that, one sentry is placed down. This is going to prevent the stack from working. Malk will go attempt to stack this. He's got a sentry of his own, so he might be able to stop this, but regardless, Fluff's follow-up sentry could mean that stopping that might be a little difficult. We will see one disruption. Fluff's going to throw the stun, and that will hit Fear. A lot of damage actually being done to him. Just keep in mind, Split Earth level 1 actually does a lot of damage, 120 damage here. Not to mention the 2 disruption illusions from Shadow Demon, a couple right clicks there, and all of a sudden he has to burn through 2 sets of Tangos, which is not bad at all. The pull is happening from Malk. He ended up just doing a single pull. Oh, I see why. It's because he's trying to pull the medium camp to it, and Malk might actually get caught here. We'll see. He's trying to run away. He's going to have to go through the river instead now. Still is not skilled a point into anything, but this is most likely just because he doesn't know whether he'll need Gush or Anchor Smash in the future. So they will disrupt that pull and take some creeps, and all of a sudden there's no more pulling that EG can deal with here. And they will place one ward down. This was spotted possibly from Bulba, so we'll see if this gets countered by Fluff. It might be, because it did get placed right in front of them, but we'll see if it does get stopped or not. A lot of regen on Clockwork now, and he's got a Stout Shield, so even if he does get jumped on, it should be okay for him. If we check the mid lane at the moment, 5 last hits for Darkseer versus a 9-2 Batrider, so Korok is doing pretty well. He will be stacking some stacks here, and Jo will take a lot of right clicks. He's most likely not going to focus on denying too much, because it's actually pretty difficult to deny a Darkseer most times, but he's going to surge back, and this is going to allow him to purchase a bottle and go grab control of the rune, which I think that was actually a gamble out of them. There's only one Radiant Observer ward that I'm seeing on the map. Yeah, the other one's here, so Darkseer got really lucky there, ends up swinging to the top lane, and he does end up grabbing a ward there. So Malk is checking for wards, I think, or at least he's about to. We will see. He's going to spot Beediz, and there's a sentry put down, and they will check this location. Yep, this is a very common ward spot at the moment, because it is hidden. At high levels of pub play, it's actually probably the best place to ward, by the way. You'll see me doing this very often now. I'll just put a ward in this position right here, but it's very easy to grab once you are at or very easy to deny when you're at a high level of play. And they actually gambled a little bit with this sentry. They put the sentry here so that they could catch any wards in this location and any wards in this location, but if the ward was in the lane here, or if it was blocking the magic bush, then they would have known for sure, or they would have missed it. But I'm sure what Melk did there was check this camp to see if it was blocked, and at that point he knew that it wasn't magic bush. That would be my assumption, something like that. There's the courier bringing out some boots. That's going to be boots on Batrider now. With the bottle now, he has plenty of HP regen. Some dive actually on Demon on the top lane. He's level 4 with the Windrunner. TC is up to 13 last hits, and he is going 1 rocket, 2 rocket barrage, and 1 flat cannon. So Now, Missile versus a Windrunner. I played this matchup just last night, I believe. I played Gyrocopter versus a Windrunner. It's not the easiest matchup for a Gyrocopter to play because if the Windrunner is smart, she can just kill the Missile before it does end up hitting her. But if the Missile does get charged up to full speed, then the Windrunner will have to back up. So it can be useful here. And the pulling has continued. Now Bulba is going to go try to contest this. He'll use a rocket for that. And he actually wants to block the camps back. So if he can just pull the creeps to him, he can then pull it back into the wave. And that should prevent the neutrals from doing a whole lot with it. So Bulba's actually trying really hard to do this. Pulling the creep wave past. And it doesn't look like it's going to stick. So regardless, they should be able to get the last hits. They're going to miss one there, which is a slight mistake because no EXP for them. But will EG react to it? Fear is thinking about it, and there's the Spirits coming up. They want to fight this. 2 levels of Spirits is pretty dangerous. Ix Mike in a lot of trouble. The Gush is going to land. Fluff is looking for a stun, but the Spirit damage, and there's the Reality Rift. Ix Mike going to disrupt himself for a second. Great Split Earth Lightning as well, and that's going to cog him in. Fear's in a lot of trouble. More right clicks, but Darkseer's showing up, so this could go bad. Great Wand usage, but First Blood going with Fear dying somehow. Man, Shadow Demon barely staying alive. Beat is with 1 hit left over, but they were not able to get the kill, and 13 seconds left on Firefly. Man, Liquid really lucked out there. Any other kills? There's 3 kills. Tide gets Shadow Demon, and Darkseer gets Leshrac. So it's actually 2 kills for EG, but Liquid did get the first blood. So in reality, they actually broke even on gold here. And if we check the graph, it's a very slight Liquid advantage, mostly from last hitting and not necessarily from the kills. But that's most likely because TC is going to be out farming a Windrunner on the top lane, 27 and 10 for him, whereas it's 12 and 5 for Windrunner. And on the mid lane, I expect Batrider is getting more last hits, and yeah, that's the case. So more last hits on the top and mid lane for Liquid, and on the bot lane, they are actually also winning. So they're just kind of winning all of their lanes at the moment. Losing 2 heroes is not the best thing ever, but things are going okay for them. 1 battery assault, 1 rocket, and 1 cog. A little bit of everything that they need in the early game. Now, we'll see what they do for skill points here. Is he going to max rocket? He will max rocket, 2 levels of rocket here. Versus a tri lane, I think this is pretty smart. If you're versus a solo hero, there might be some situations where a max battery assault could be better, but versus a tri lane, maxing out rocket first is surely going to be more useful because 50 mana, you can do 200 damage to 3 enemy heroes. You're talking about a lot of damage contribution in an early lane. So I love Ix Mike's positioning here. He is in a location where he can cover Clockwork. If Clockwork gets jumped on, he shoots a rocket over here to try to stop the creeps, and actually that ended up helping out because it changed the timing of pulling the creeps over, and Melk was not able to get them in there in time. So nice rocket there by Boba. We'll be able to pull them back a bit. Fear is now level 4. We even see some Shadow Poison. Wow, level 2 Shadow Poison. Another different skill build than we normally see out of a Shadow Demon because he doesn't have Soul Catcher, and that's the main thing. Usually we see Soul Catcher with Disruption out of a Shadow Demon in the early game, but instead he's going for as much AoE damage as possible. The cooldown is slightly increased on Shadow Poison in the last couple months, so this will help him do damage and contribute more to this tri lane. Pretty cool to see. Jo with Soul Ring, I believe, is bottle crowing at the moment, and that does look like what it is. Demon, I believe, just picked up a regen. He's going to have to use Wind Run to run back, and this means that when the missile hits, he's going to be under tower most likely. So he'll shoot a power shot and eat the missile, but very little damage. It's only a level 1 rocket, only does up to 110 damage, so no problem there for TC. It's just going to cost him some mana to pressure the Windrunner, and in the meantime, that's going to hurt him a bit. But Demon very wisely is going to pull the side camp over. This is the best thing you can do as a long lane on the Radiant side. Always pull this camp if possible. He's going to shoot a power shot on that, purchase some boots, and then he's going to go try to get the last hits. He's going to miss one of these, actually, but if he can pick up the Satyr Tormentor, it would be great, but he's not going to be able to, actually, because the wave's pushing past, so TC does miss it, though, so no free 100 gold for him, but I don't know if Demon got that experience or not, but it looks like Gyrocopter is out-leveling him, so everything pretty stable for the moment. Tri-lane versus tri-lane, people are just playing it safe. Liquid does have to be pretty careful, though, because if they get out of position again and do lose 2 heroes, this could swing in the team fight and the other way. Bulba's early item build on Clock is a magic stick as well as a bottle, so a lot of regen focused and burst regen focused. Windrunner activates the regen run, actually. He will try to trade hits on TC. Yep, great power shot on TC there. It's quite a bit of damage for him, especially when he only has a Ring of Regen, but even still, Demon does have to be careful. If a hero like Shadow Demon shows into the lane, for example, that's going to be 1 dead hero. But Mike's sitting mid, they're waiting for Jo to come forward, I think, but he's level 8. He's leveling very, very well. And another really nice thing about playing on the Radiant side is that you can very easily, as the creep wave pushes forward, just swing down to the small camp, take the camp out. It gives you an extra 75 to 100 gold and a little bit more experience. So, very nice little advantage for him. Darkseer's level 8. And Batrider is at level 8 as well, but Darkseer is actually out-leveling him, and that's most likely because that's small camp. So, Demon pulls back the top lane, take a look at the KDs if you guys are curious. He has gone for a Ring of Basilius, which is some nice armor. That's going to help him against any flat cannon harass that Bat Rider puts out, as well as giving him some nice mana regen. But I like the bottle basey combo. It's pretty smart. One Observer Ward goes down the lane. That's going to scout out Demon, see where his positioning is. That way they can see if the supports need to roam over. And Beat is in a really good spot as well. 3 levels of Spirits now means he can do a ton of magic damage. And, wow, weird skill build again. 2 levels of Battery Salt. This more than doubles the damage that Battery Salt does. So this is why he's put a 2nd level into this. It does make Battery Salt much, much better, which is the main reason he's most likely doing this. And Korok wants to get a kill on Demon here, but Demon's playing pretty safe. At the moment, it's just Shadow Demon on the mid lane. I like how they're leaving him here while there's nobody mid so that he can get some solo EXP as well as solo farm. If he can get to 6 pretty fast, it's going to be very, very useful against heroes like Darkseer. And that's definitely one of the things that Shadow Demon can be used for, because his Demonic Purge does remove buffs and debuffs. Korok's looking to initiate on Demon, and the power shot is used once again, so very, very close here. If Demon does come forward, he will be getting ganked. The missile's going to start things off, but that's going to force the Demon all the way back. It's going to be sitting under tower a little bit, and he's a little worried about a Bat Rider showing up, so he's just going to take the missile and regen up a little more. So Bat Rider says, okay, I've been sitting top all game. Nothing has really happened from this, so I need to go back to the mid lane to get the experience. Where's Shadow Demon at? Shadow Demon's now level 4, so he got a level out of that, a couple last hits, and he does have a level of Soul Catcher now, so if they catch somebody out of position, he can be there to fight. Looks like Bulba's been playing pretty safe since then, though. Chaos Knight is level 6, so he's got a wand, treads, as well as some Reality Rift. Really, really, this is pretty much the best possible early starting build for a Chaos Knight, just because you need enough mana regen to be able to cast constantly, at least, maybe not constantly, but a lot in the early game. And a little creep stealing from Shadow Demon, actually. They're looking for an initiation. Here comes the Reality Rift, going to start off on Ix. Mikey disrupts himself, looking for a stun, but a great nuke from Fluff. He throws the level 2 lightning down as well, and Bulba's getting really low. Another gush on Ix. Mikey, and he's so low. Bulba, will he survive? Shadow Demon goes down, Clockwork goes down, but he's trying to pull Fear to low ground. He just doesn't get it. He was so close. Flame Break to try to send him back, but really just pushed him away. And now a mini stun on Fluff with a power shot, and Fluff has got to go back to base. Now we're spending his tangos when he's that low, so another lost team fight on the bot lane for Liquid. Did not go so hot for them. Invis rune used by Bat Rider. Oh man, he wants to make plays here. He's got Firefly in 12 seconds. Beatus is in position as well, but I just don't think he can do this. He does have a lot of levels of Flame Break, and I believe a little bit of missile damage there on all of these guys, actually. They're all quite low. I believe Fluff told me a little bit about the skill build. You do 2-2-2 with 2 Flame Breaks and 2 Fireflies. This gives you pretty good lane control, enough damage from Napalm as well as Firefly, and then you follow this up with a max out Flame Break, which gives you the ability to just do a lot of nuke damage and contribute more in the early game. So that's what Korok is opting to do. He's at 1,000 gold here, and most likely is going for a Blink Dagger next. He's got enough regen, that's for sure. Wand Bottle and a Tranquil Boots. TC is now pulling the large camp, which should give him a slight advantage. And it looks like he's actually going for a Lothar's here. Claymore's picked up and just about at a Shadow Amulet. And once he gets there, should be able to get a kill. A little pulling done by Bulba here. He's going to get some last hits on the top lane. He's level 6. That means if Demon is out of position, he could get caught. Power Shot's actually going to scout that he's there, so that's not so good for Bulba. And he actually loses a bottle charge as well, so you'll see Demon react to this and play really safe now. Gank on the mid lane, actually, and Bat Rider goes down. That was with a... was that even a TP? I don't even think it was, but the bottle is purchased from Wisp. The mana is given to Chaos Knight, and they're going to try to take the mid tower out of that. So, first death for Bat Rider, I believe. Yep, that is Korok going down. Back on the safe lane, Malk has been getting solo farm now, which is great for him. A Tidehunter should get level 6 relatively fast, if possible. He's rocking the pirate gear. And once he picks up level 6, this means that he can, of course, contribute so much more as a support hero to the team fight. Even level 1 Gush is not that bad, but Anchor Smash, you want to have that maxed out pretty fast because the damage output is huge, and Ravage, of course, is fantastic for scoring kills. So Shadowblade is finished now. Now, in the past, I may have looked at this item and said, wow, Shadowblade's terrible, don't get it, guys, it's not that good. But in the past, it gave about 44 damage, I believe, and 10 attack speed, which is largely very just damage-based. And additionally, Shadowblade has been buffed time and time again. The duration has gone up, and it now gives 30 attack speed and 30 damage, which means it's a lot more of a DPS item now than it was in the past. It used to be more of like a crit burst item or so. Bat Rider looking for a kill top, does use Firefly. He's got smoke as well, so this is not spotted. And I think he might be able to get behind Demon, but Demon is probably seeing the fire, and there it is. Demon's going to get spotted. Wow, he was really late reaction there, and he might be in a lot of trouble. I love the cogs just in case support's coming to the right side, and Demon does go down. Disruption on Tidehunter as well. The TP's come in, though. The Spirits are doing the damage. Another vacuum. Great vacuum. Ravage on top of that. Korok looks so dead. And awesome reaction time from EG. Puts them on the high ground and able to shut down Liquid a little bit. Bulba picks off one cog, aiming for the corner one. And that went really, really well for EG. The vacuum into the Ravage. A lot of dead heroes from Liquid. That was not what they wanted to do in that team fight. As you can see, Liquid's levels are actually quite low. Fluff is sitting at 4. I believe he just died and respawned, going for equal levels of Split Earth Lightning Storm. And Shadow Demon is level 6, was able to use his ulti in the team fight. But against a Ravage Vacuum, it makes it very, very difficult to play. So, awesome TP supports. They dove behind the tier 1 tower, which is pretty aggressive, by the way. Usually it's quite dangerous to do that. You don't want to engage in little picks like that if they're behind towers. So maybe they were a little unsure what they wanted to do. That great shackle on Bulba. He's in trouble now. Beta is going to get a lot of magic damage off. A tether on a creep as well, and Bulba might go down. Cog's going to buy him a second, but will it be enough? He's popping bottle charges, and he just has to dodge a power shot. And yeah, he's going to be completely fine, but really close. Nice sick play there. Great shackle shot. An awesome little tether stun from Beatus as well on top of that. Back on the mid lane, Korok is trying to get some more last hits. Back on the top lane, they're actually going to try to take the tower. 3 levels of Shadow Poison. TC still has a Shadow Blade. Again, really good damage output out of Shadow Blade now because of the damage as well as attack speed. And you can also use it to initiate quite well, especially if you can pop out with the BKB after this fact. It looks like he's probably going Treads, I think. Most likely going to do Treads Shadow Blade, which means he can break invis, do the called on Rocket Barrage, and just flat cannon the whole enemy team. It does a lot of damage output. Now keep in mind that if you use a Shadow Blade and then flat cannon, it doesn't apply the extra damage to the AoE. So keep that in mind when you decide to buy the Shadow Blade. That is going to be a dead tower though, so the early pressure may have paid off here. TC picks up the tower. He's also going to flat cannon to clear the creep waves and things, and a flame break on the mid wave to try to slow things down will help out a bit. And Rocket as well, and that's one of the cool things about their draft right now. With max flame break and Shadow Demon getting Shadow Poison maxed out and Clockwork Rockets, they actually have really, really safe counter push. I mean, who needs a Keeper of the Light when you get these 3 heroes and you level up these skills in this way? And that is one of the things that is going to change based on their skill adjustments. The Rocket Barrage Rocket Flare, is actually not that maxed out. He's opted for 3 battery salts now, so he's much more looking to kill a solo hero with his abilities than counter push and AoE farm. But it looks like he's actually just maxing him equally. Very different Clockwork build than we normally see, but this is what he's opting for. And Arcane Boots as well this game. We don't always see him go Arcane Boots. I think some of the other Clock games I've seen him play yet Phase instead of Arcane. So possibly just based on the enemy heroes they're playing against, I'm not quite sure. But no mana drainers. That would have been a normal indicator. But it's going to be a mech pickup on Darkseer, so he's going for early team fight. Arcane Boots as well. Soul Ring, Arcane, and Bottles. Actually a little bit of mana overkill. I'm kind of surprised he's gotten all of these items. We don't normally see quite all of them picked up as a mid Darkseer. I've even seen like Arcane Boots Bottle alone skipping Soul Ring, but this is going to guarantee that he's pretty much always at max mana. His HP is not going to be as good as a result, but he's always going to have mana. He's always going to have the mana to pop the mech, and that is probably why he opted for that skill build instead. So not able to kill that range creep, unfortunately. He's actually looking to TP, I think, because that does look like that EG is looking to pressure mid. And they always have to be under constant threat of the TP from Wisp as well as Chaos Knight. You guys have to keep that in mind. That's one of the scariest things about Chaos Knight Wisp combo, is that if a team fight happens, they will be there. There's only 3 heroes mid right now, but they could be there at any moment. And this tower does look like it's going to fall. I don't think IX Mike's going to bother with it. And yeah, they're just going to take the tower. Tidehunter gets the last hit, and their power shot. This Tide's up to a Wand as well as an Arcane Boots. Most likely we'll save for a Blink Dagger next. And a little smoke on the bot lane as well. And it's going to be Treads with an Ogre Club, so he will go BKB immediately afterwards, which is very wise considering the usefulness of Shadow Blade. You can just pop it in the middle of the team fight, go Magic Immune, and then hopefully score some kills, do some AoE damage. All that good stuff. EG now shifting towards the bot lane. Demon still doesn't have that many items, but he does have decent last hits. 44 last hits with 1 kill, 1 death is not too bad. Regen, Wand, Basilius. Surprisingly, no boots upgrade yet. No Phase boots, no Tranquils. I assume he's going to grab Phase right now, perhaps, unless he's saving for something like buyback. And Malk picks up more farm. Does want to get a Blink Dagger. The reason EG is pushing very hard right now is because they do have better team fight, especially with the Tidehunter. So the bot tower is going to go quite easily with Tide again getting the last hit. And this is very crucial for Liquid again. He's now 400 gold, closer to a Blink Dagger, and as a support here, this is going to be an insanely fast Blink. He's kind of looking for a Ravage, but unfortunately for him, they still had Vision. Slight mistake from him since Shadow Poison does give Vision. They're trying to slow this down, but the tier 2 tower is taking damage, and can Liquid turtle this out? The major reason they're having trouble is because of the fact that they did lose their tri-lane. They got more last hits, but they did lose a couple more kills. They got killed more often than they scored kills. TP's coming to the mid lane. They're trying to defend the push. TC gets out of there, and the deny will happen. So tied now with 3 tower kills. And the tier 2 tower bot also goes down, so EG's taking great control of this game if we look at the graphs. It was starting out very nice for Liquid, but because they lost a couple of those team fights, things are pushing up and up. And since they won team fights, plus they have the better early game, EG can now take a further advantage in this Dota 2 game. So EXP at an all-time high for them, 4,000, but it is leveling off. That's mostly because EG is team pushing. If you're team pushing, you're splitting 4 or 5 creeps 3 or 4 ways, which makes it tougher to grab solo EXP, whereas if you look at Liquid, they're slightly more spread out. As you can see, Ike's Mike is spending some time in the jungle, possibly warding at the moment. Now, Tangank going on Fluff, he's run the opposite direction. The best he can pretty much do is go for a TP scroll, but he's going to die. Not purchasing any items before he died, which is a slight mistake, because he could have at least got a free TP scroll. But can they get a kill before they're teleported out? I don't think so. And there's the send back from the Shadow, or I'm sorry, from the Wisp. They will get some vision of it at least. A couple Wisp illusions on the top lane. But the danger of Chaos Knight Wisp is always going to be relevant, and there really wasn't a whole lot that Fluff could have done there. If maybe he could have tried juking into the trees somewhere over here and teleporting out, but his likelihood of escaping was quite low. And again, they take the advantage that they want. Fluff's still very low level 5 at the moment, so things are not looking so good for them. 3 deaths on him, but they will finally turn this into a push. The Radiant team looks like they're top. That looks like they're definitely all there. Liquid can see that. And the tier 1 tower is going to be taken out. But will they go top to try to defend is the question. They might just try to take the tier 1 and then pressure tier 2 a bit. I'd be surprised if they go try to fight it. But there is the Blink Dagger on Bat Rider at least, so they can get some advantage out of this. We'll follow this rocket. It does look like it's going all the way to the top lane. Maybe late though. Jao's going to teleport back to the tier 2 and the top tower gets killed by Chaos Knight. Malk does have his Blink Dagger fish, which is why he did not purchase and or steal the tower kill that time. Korok now picking up some jungle camps here. We'll see if he gets shackled. I think Demon's thinking about it, but he's also taking some damage of his own. There's the shackle finally landing on Korok. Power shot's going to start things off. There's the TP. Iron Shell on Korok. He's in a lot of trouble. Flame Brick will buy him a second, but he does get killed. And Demon, nice job there by scouting out. So nice plays there. Beat again teleports into 3 relocate, and they score another kill. They might be able to take Roshan. Oh, wow, they're killing Ancients right now. This is a big loss for them. Look at all these super low Ancients. They want to snag kills, but TC as well maybe wants to fight this. Do they have detection? No shackle lane on TC. There's the Blink. Looking for the Ravage. Ravage is going to catch just TC, actually. Fluff surprisingly does not get nailed, but the cooldown does a lot of damage on him. Fluff popping the ulti to do as much as he can before he goes down. He has used Wand already, looking for Split Earth perhaps. Shackle won't latch there. Disruption on maybe the wrong hero. Puts it on Fear. Fear's going to put an ulti down as well. Clockwork goes in, though. Cog on Fear. This could be really bad for Fear. And yeah, Fear is going to get picked off. Vacuum pulls him out. But Bobo will survive. If they can get back here and take out the Ancients, this is going to be a big save for Liquid. Losing these Ancients, they were so close. So very close to finishing off the Ancients. But if you look at the Observer Wards, I think this one is what helped out EG the most. They placed this when they took the tier 2 tower. As you guys can see, it gives great vision. And there it is. The rocket puts vision on the Ancients. They said, did they take our Ancients? And look at that. They didn't see them. All that they had to do, Tide could have strolled in right there, popped 1 Anchor Smash, taking a lot of creep kills. I think Anchor hits some of these. I don't think it hits all of them, but I believe it hits at least the Ancient Black Dragons. So they're coming to the Ancients. They have defended these. They're going to stack them. Well, that's not a stack, actually. They're just pulling them back. But here comes TC. TC's going to be able to finish up on these. We'll see his gold difference. That was 650. He's going to get about 1,000 gold out of this. That was lost. That could have been on the Radiant team if they did spot those out. Now, they only had 2 heroes left over. Maybe they didn't feel safe taking them. But I think they might have just missed them. I'm not sure. Not quite sure. Being able to take those would have been a huge advantage, though. So, this is the BKB recipe. Man, look at that, 1,400 gold. He was at 600 gold, gets 800 out of it. Big gold advantage that could have been lost to them. Korok going for Forest Staff next, most likely. He's got a Ring of Regen picked up now. Malk with Iron Shell, very good combo there. His blink was a little late. I think he maybe should have ravaged before he gushed there because it did not catch Fluff. Regardless, they did get Fluff, but he had to get dived all the way under the tier 3, which actually cost Chaos Knight the life. So very, very slight mistake out of Malkin. I'm sure it's mostly he's just not used to the new Ravage distance, or the Ravage movement speed. The Ravage used to expand faster, but now it's a little bit slower. So that does hurt things, makes it hard to ravage people towards the outsides. Will they catch Korok, though? They're looking like they want to. There's a surge on the hero's mid. There's a Force Staff on Windrunner. He actually completely skipped Phase Boots. Opted straight for the Force Staff. Pretty smart choice for survivability reasons, especially because of Clock. Clock is notoriously a great hero against Windrunner until Windrunner gets Force Staff. There's the blink forward. Gush on IX Mike, Anchor Smash. He looks pretty dead. He's going to disrupt himself. It buys him a couple seconds, but this guy is dead. Throws his ulti down. Soul Catcher as well, so some damage on Demon. Actually, they want to fight this, but here comes the rest of EG. Call down does tons of damage. Demon looks like he will die, but he 4 steps high ground. Great Ravage as well. Buys him a second, but TC with Flat Cannon might be able to clean up. He's hitting Fear as much as possible. Great Cogs as well, going to burn some mana, but Fluff's got to be careful. 4-second Fluff might go down from this one, but Fear is in trouble. His BKB runs out, and the Rocket Barrage does a lot, but wow, he goes invis. 28 HP. Rockets, yes, it's going to get it. Clockwork, last second. Fear did not juke for that one. Missile Channel. This could be bad for Demon. Great Force Staff to the high ground. That was very smart. Much faster to go that way than all the way around the lane. And looks like Liquid is going to be okay. They win the team fight. 3 dead heroes on EG. I'm actually surprised it went that way. Shadow Demon died right at the start. He did get his ulti off, though, which is a pretty big deal. Gets his ulti off. That's 200 damage. Slowed down, who did they initiate on? Demon. Demon survived, surprisingly, but the other AoE damage that they worked with was pretty well. Worked out pretty nicely. So they're going on Roshan next. A little bit of heal. Bracer stack on Fluff to keep his HP up, and he wants to make sure the opponents aren't coming, so very wise Rocket to keep track of where the Radiant team is swinging in. A little Rocket Barrage on Roshan to finish things up. They want to kill this as fast as possible, and very smart for them to take this immediately after winning a team fight. Pretty surprised that Malk is going this skill build. I don't know if I quite agree with it. It does increase his survivability against creeps by a massive amount, and also it's going to reduce the amount of damage that Korok, or I'm sorry, TC is doing in team fights, because it should block some of the flat cannon damage. But I really think that maxing Gush second is better. The scaling in his defense is pretty terrible for Gush. You're only getting 50 damage per Gush level, but the mana cost doesn't go up and the armor reduction does as well. So it's hard to say whether maxing Kraken Shell first is worth it. But I mean, it does increase the damage reduction, but I'm not too sure. He's quite farmed this game. He hasn't died yet, and maybe that's part of the reason from the Kraken Shell, but I would love to hear his reasoning for maxing out Kraken first. I dare say that Gush might be better, especially when you're working with a physical damage carry, so hard to say. Fear actually skipped the drum. He actually got BKB first. He might still get drum afterwards. I'm not sure if he will, though. I'm not sure if their team has one. I see no drums, actually. So I think I would like to see them finish a drum. The extra 5% movement speed is actually very helpful for your team. One person every game should have a drum, similar to how one person every game should have a mech, and preferably an urn as well. Urn oftentimes takes less priority over other items, but Urn can be very good. And the typical bracer stack support hero item progression is stack your bracers until you can't stack bracers anymore because you run out of item slots, and then you get a Drum of Endurance to upgrade one of those. So pretty good item choices. Korok's looking for kills here. In the meantime, he's fireflying all the way across the top trees. He might be purchasing. I don't think he's going to buy with this, actually, but it does allow him to snake around. Demon picking up a regen rune on the bot lane, level 12 on him. He does finally finish Phase Boots, opted to do it after the Force Staff, which is obviously, even still, pretty good damage output. Good mobility as well. Darkseer is opting for a Shiva's Guard after his mechanism, which means tons of survivability against physical damage, so heroes like Gyrocopter are going to be less likely to kill him rapidly. But now that he has a BKB finished as well as a Shadow Blade, Gyro's looking pretty dangerous. And as you guys look at his numbers, his farm rate is insane. Despite dying twice, he's got 190 last hits, and that's largely because of Rocket Barrage, very, very good for killing solo targets, as well as Flat Cannon. Krok's still sitting top, by the way. He went all the way over this position just in the hopes that somebody from EG would come here to farm. So probably better than jungling in the meantime, because Gyro's going to take most of the camps anyways. But unfortunately for him, nobody from EG is going to fall for. We see a little bit of smoke as well out of EG. They're looking to pick off some heroes maybe in the jungle. Jo with his Shiva's Guard finished is going to reduce the attack speed of Liquid as well. Very good against the Gyrocopter again. But he is going to MKB. This is going to give him True Strike versus any heroes that are evading, such as Windrunner, so this is the main reason he's picking this up. Otherwise, it might be more likely to see something like Daedalus Demon's going to get revealed, though, so they may realize, but TC's feeling fairly okay. He does have a BKB, of course. So even if he does get initiated on him, that wouldn't be the end of the world. There's a blink in. He does grab Demon. Demon's out of position. There's a rocket barrage, and wow, the burst damage kills him so fast. The Radiant team was not able. Oh, great hook shot as well from Clockwork, and that's going to force them to actually fight this. The wall gets put down, and Bulba immediately retreats as he grabs Jo. Super sick plays there, and Jo goes down. I loved how he killed the corner cog there because he could block it. He would still have a quick escape if needed, but most importantly, still block in the opponent. And that only needed to be one kill, but Liquid turned it into two there. Demon was playing way too aggressive. He was expecting cover from his allies, and instead what happened was a blink in from Batrider, able to pick off Demon and push the tower as a result. And now they will get this tier 2 tower because of that one mistake from Demon. The hookshot on Jo also helped out quite a bit. So nice play from Bulba to snag extra gold for their teammate. It looks like he's actually going BKB after the mech here. If you do pick up a mech on Clockwork, make sure that you grab Arcane Boots additionally. You will need the extra mana. But a BKB after this will keep him quite survivable against heroes like Tidehunter. Doesn't have to worry as much about Darkseer either because he won't be affected by the vacuum, which means that he's most likely not going to make an illusion if he does get caught. So IX Mike just killing some Mud Golems in the meantime. Nobody likes Mud Golems except for like Lifestealer and Ursa. That's about it. Only two heroes that are happy about it. Korok's going to finish his Force Staff now. He's got the money finally. So he can pull enemy heroes even further out of position. And Leshrac most likely going BKB after the drum. He doesn't have a whole lot of mana regen right now. Just the base numbers. But luckily, Leshrac's int gain is quite high. So despite not purchasing Arcane Boots or anything like that, he's still going to be absolutely fine, I think. Gyrocopter with his Monkey King bar is finished. Shadow Blade as well as a BKB on top of that. He's going to rocket towards the bot lane. And EG just kind of protecting each other at the moment. Now, I think they're a little worried about Fear out carrying this, and they should be. If you look at the net worth, Gyrocopter is way up there. And the main reason that Chaos Knight's not sitting nearly as high is because despite dying more often, Liquid's tri-lane actually did have the intended effect of preventing Chaos Knight from getting free farm. He was not able to get free farm in his lane. 30 minutes in at 125 last hits is fantastic, but it is not as high as you need it to be with your carry. And despite him having some kills, they have died a couple times, so this puts EG behind and kind of forces them to make team fights happen. As you guys can see, the gold earned is now slightly in Liquid's favor. They brought it back based on that little snag top, and the EXP is also sitting about even. So Liquid's going to be very, very aggressive at this point because they have the BKB and MKB up on the Gyrocopter. Since we're awesome and watching a replay, I'm going to speed this guy up a little bit. Taking a look at a couple other graph things. Level 17 on the Gyro. The rest of the Dire team is actually still pretty low. That tri-lane not doing the best. Level 11 on Bulba though, so that gives him a 1.5 second stun duration on hookshot, doubles the damage. Most importantly, reduces the cooldown by a slight amount. So even still, Beatis as well as Fear are jungling. The Wisp combo is ready to go at all times. The Rocket's actually going to scout them top just as they run to the creep whip, so I guess that was going to happen anyways. And a TP coming. This is going to be a Gyro actually. I think they want to try to fight them if possible. EG is going to be backing up though. I don't know if their ward vision caught this or not, but I might place in some wards. Very cool ward here by EG. This is a very, very uncommon spot to have an observe ward place. It doesn't cover as much as a ward in, say, the mid lane or the rune spots would, but it's less likely to get counter warded. And as you guys can see, that ward did fulfill its life. Another ward spot up here, very, very commonly, very uncommonly dewarded. So pretty common for that not to get caught. Oh, they're looking to fight though. Jao's going to run right into their team. I think. Oh, he does reveal the smoke. They know the whole team is right up here. There's the power shot they were looking for him. They thought they were to the right, but actually they're juking back towards Fear, and Fear's going to be in a lot of trouble. Here's the initiation. Fear's going to take a huge burst before BKB even. He's going to go down, I'm pretty sure. Oh, wow. 6 save from Beatis. That's going to keep Fear alive. He charted channeling the relocate. He tethered to him, and they're going to be back in just a second for a fight. Jao's trying to set up in time. Here they come back any second. Here they go. They're back to the top lane. It's just going to be Beatis still, though. He does have a haste rune on the bright side. Goes in on Geo. One vacuum only catches IX Mike. The call down as well as the flat cannon. Geo's taking so much damage, even still from TC. Malk hasn't ravaged quite yet, but he'll do it any time here. Even still gets bursted down. Tide goes down, and Liquid picks off 2 core heroes on the EG team. Now, Tide didn't waste his ravage, which is a good thing. He knew he was going to go down. Figured it wasn't going to contribute a whole lot, but instead Beatis is now the one in trouble. Cog sends him back. Beatis is very, very dead. Nice play by Bulba there. Hook shots in. That gives him a pretty solid advantage. 3 dead heroes, sorry. He did keep Fear alive, which is super sick play from Beatis, but 2,000 gold is not going to be enough to outcarry what Gyrocopter is working with right now. I'm pretty sure he bought new items. Let's see what he's got coming. It's a Helm of the Dominator. He wants some lifesteal so he can go head-to-head with the Chaos Knight. Makes complete sense, and he can even follow this up with the Satanic if he wants some more HP and more lifesteal. BKB is only at 8 seconds, which is not bad at all. GPM is still way up there for TC, 536, and they are looking for EG if EG gets spotted. They can still initiate on this. The mana isn't super huge on Korok, but with the Blink Daggers was a Force Staff, he can obviously pull anybody back. Anyone that does get out of position, that is. Roshan is up in about 2 minutes. Doesn't look like any stacked Ancients or anything like this, but I think Liquid's going to back off for just a small moment here and regain themselves. This is going to force EG actually to play very safe, as you see by their positioning. Beatus is waiting to cover Fear. Malk is doing the same. Demon is doing the same. That means there's only 2 heroes farming on EG, where if you take a look at Liquid, you know, it's really about the same. They're pretty much covering each other, checking for observer wards, things like that. So it looks like a gem on IX Mike, and that is what it is. One gem picked up for IX Mike, Force Staff as well. Not opting for Treads, not opting for Arcane Boots, none of that stuff. A little unsure why Korok has killed all these trees. I think he's looking for heroes. Maybe he's hoping there would be a smoke gank coming in this path and he's trying to disable it. I'm really not quite sure, but regardless, he has murdered many a tree today, and EG is going to continue to try to regain some of their game here. They are quite behind at the moment. Not a whole lot of buybacks, actually. Not much saving here. There's a smoke in the mid lane, though. They want to try to make something happen. Their farm rates are getting behind. Demon not really moving past any items that he could have had 10 minutes ago. But can they grab somebody at the Ancients at least? I'm not sure. We're going to see a rocket going to the bot lane. Fear gets caught. Missile does not actually spot up Beatus. And Ancients will be stacked one more time before they let TC pick this up. He's even got an Alpha Wolf, actually, which is a lot of damage boost for the Team Liquid here. Does a 30% bonus damage aura. That's massive. That's almost as good as Venge's third skill, the Vengeance aura. In Dota 2, they do stack. I assume they killed that. It's a lot of dead lizards, though. Poor lizards. Look at this damage output. That's insane. Plus 193 right now. Very, very good damage. And the rest of EG is going to back off and play safe. They have no vision at the moment, and that makes things really tough for them. The only ward they have up is this one, and regardless if they did, there would most likely be smoking and things like that. But at the moment, Liquid has huge map control. They have better wards than EG does. EG doesn't feel safe teamfighting at the moment because TC's farm is way higher. So they're just going to take Roshan for free, and that's what's going to happen. It's just an Aegis, no cheese quite yet. This is only the second time Roshan dies. On the third time, he does drop cheese. And EG finally getting wise about what's going on. The Rocket's going to catch a Demon. He's going to power shot in. He does see them, but it's really nothing they can do about it. TC will pick up the Aegis. Most likely, yep, he does grab it. And 2,700 gold on top of that. Butterfly is possibly next, or Satanic. One of those two items, most likely, is what we'll see. Could maybe be a Daedalus, but most likely a Butterfly, because that would make him essentially unkillable versus Chaos Knight, who has finally finished the drum, by the way, so they have attack speed on their team. And most likely going for a Heart next with the Reaver. Heart's very, very good for Chaos Knight because it gives all of his illusions a lot more survivability when they do end up splitting off. So Liquid looking really strong, 14 to 11 at the moment. Gold graph is still in their favor. EXP is sitting about 5k. And no BKB in sight for Clockwork. Again, the farm rates are pretty low on a lot of the heroes, but that's because they've been doing a lot of 5-man Dota and protecting each other. So keep that in mind. A very, very important factor. This out, they're going in. They will grab Demon, pulling him out of position again. Wow, Rocket Barrage, did he die fast? Looking for the Ravage anytime. He is going to drop the Ravage, catches a couple of heroes. Ike's Mike may be the one to go down. He does get crit as well. Croc's low. Beatus as well. Bulba's looking for more kills. But the mana is now out on the Chaos Knight. Great blink dodge after the stun from Chaos Knight. TC still in the back of this. He's going to finally call down. Going to clean up these illusions pretty rapidly. He's got to kill this. Keep that Alpha Wolf alive. TC has managed to put it in a really safe spot. It's very uncommon to see the Alpha Wolf survive the battle, but I'm sure that paid off with Gyrocopter's damage. Not really that many dead heroes on the Radiant team. How many buybacks did we see? Just one buyback from Demon, actually. That's it. Only one buyback there. Demon died before anybody else, and again, he was the first hero to get initiated on there by the Bat Rider. So Malk's going to blink forward, a little bit of gush, almost an anchor smash. They're looking to snag somebody. It's going to be TC. They go in on him. 2 seconds stun. His Aegis is gone, by the way, so this could be really bad from no BKB either. He's got a lifesteal. It's his only chance, and he's getting it. Fear's going down. I think he might be able to get it. He does. TC just barely gets an ultra kill. Somebody else died. It wasn't TC that killed him, stealing his rampage out of him, but man, what sick plays. Oh, Darkseer was still dead. Man, that was huge plays out of TC. Barely, with his farm advantage, was able to stay alive. Chaos Knight made the right choice, jump on the gyrocopter without an Aegis, but if you can't kill him in a moment like that when he's at 40% HP already, that is pretty much the end of the game. So gyrocopter's going to be able to finish off the bot racks. They're taking at least 1 rack's advantage out of this team fight. Hookshot in on Jo, actually. He's going to cog him as well. This is really bad for Jo. Great vacuum, actually going to pull him away. And the flame break as well. Awesome plays by Boba, and now Jo is dead for another 60 seconds. Did as much as he could to try to slow this down. I'm assuming he was going to try to vacuum wall that, but great counter initiation from Boba, is able to hold that off, and that's going to prevent the guarantee the racks goes on. Even Malk going to get caught. Another mistake from EG. They don't need to let heroes die like this. Now, when they want to defend things, they can't. After those 2 heroes dying, Liquid can take a second Rax, and that should have only been a 1 Rax. So, definitely a pretty major mistake from EG, but Jo was a little too greedy. Wanted to do a vacuum ult combo to slow things down, but it's going to cost them the game. Good game is called. That game did not have to end there. I think long term it was still going to end, so maybe it was the right choice for them to try to pressure it. Butterfly's up on Gyro, and there's no way they can match his GPM at the moment. I mean, 670, doesn't have a hand of Midas. Gyrocopter, pretty insane farmer. At this point, EG was not going to be able to come back from it. Even if they didn't lose all those heroes there, they were still most likely going to lose in the late game, though they had chances. But largely, Team Liquid just did fantastic there. I never really saw them get 4 or 5-man vacuum walled. That really helped out a lot. They had great initiations as well, despite having an early loss in terms of a lot of tri-lane problems where some of their heroes died. They still were able to come back. Even Batrider has died more times than he's gotten kills. Regardless, they played very effectively. TC farmed amazingly, and they picked off the heroes that they needed to get the tactical advantages to come back from the disadvantage, and from there they won team fights and were able to take Raxes. So congrats to Liquid for taking the win here in this game of the RaidCall Dota 2 League. You guys can buy tickets for this through the Dota 2 client if you're interested. I think it was about $5, somewhere around there. I purchased it. The casters are great, AC and Draskell. I believe their stream is twitch.tv/OneMoreGameTV2, the number TV2, if you guys want to go watch them live. The matches are fantastic. All the teams in the D2L are great, and that is Team Liquid playing against EG. There was a second game in the set, as well as a third game, I believe. This is a best of 3, so you guys can go check those out. I'm not going to cast those, but I figure I'll throw in some casting once in a while, just to keep the rust off, if you know what I mean. I'll try to make lots of videos for you guys tonight. I still have a couple more hours until I feel like relaxing, so hopefully you guys like the content over the next couple days, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.